You are listening to This is Anime for Gaijins. He's Tom.
He's John.
And you are listening to two anime, well, obsessed or interested, it's maybe a strong word, 20-somethings. One of us took that a bit too far, and I now live in the land of the rising sun. So now it's time to maybe look at it. Look at anime from both the East and...
the West.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was almost as if we'd practiced that. That was fun.
We're just so in sync.
It's just like, he just finishes my...
sandwiches.
Yes, exactly. First of all, for those of you who don't know what anime is, first of all, why are you listening to an anime podcast? I like to insult our target demographics. That's how you reel them in, isn't it? Isn't it, Tom?
It's how you make friends over here in England. It's how we were raised.
We insult you, and therefore, immediately, we are now friends. This is how this works, international listeners. In terms of, this is anime for Gaijins, so maybe rephrase the title at some point, but I quite like it, because I am a Gaijin.
It's a working title. I was going to suggest Untitled Goose Podcast, but that wasn't allowed.
I feel like that's slightly too, on the moment.
That will not age well at all.
In 5 years, it's like Untitled Goose.
Why is it 5 weeks?
Why is it about anime? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, anime, it's Japanese animation. There is arguments that it is not this, and I can't be bothered to get into that argument because there could be an entire podcast just about that argument.
I'm pretty sure those already exist, yes.
They were taken. So we're doing this one instead. Basically, it's Japanese animation. Sometimes Chinese animation gets involved. Sometimes Korean animation gets involved. Sometimes even American animation gets involved and people get scared.
Yeah, all 2 times that's happened so far.
Yeah, and basically lots of arguments over Avatar: The Last Airbender.
And Castlevania.
The most anime-like anime that is possibly not an anime. Who knows? Same with Castlevania as well. Which is on Netflix. And also...
we're not being paid for this yet.
No. Okay, on a streaming services represented by a big red letter, which makes Netflix sound extremely communist.
Other streaming services are available.
That are not communist.
No, they're just aggressively capitalist instead.
To be honest, so is Netflix. So that's a setup of when we're talking about anime. Anime tends to come out in seasons. Anime has 4 seasons, like Japan, because as we all know, Thomas, Japan is the only country with 4 seasons.
The only one. It's a revolutionary concept. They came up with it themselves. It blew my mind when I heard about the 4 seasons that Japan has. I'm still in shock. I'm never going to wrap my mind around it.
Now, this will sound quite strange for those of you who are not familiar with the Japanese education system. Japanese children are taught that one thing that is special about Japan that makes it separate to everywhere else in the world is the only country with 4 seasons. Everywhere else is just lying.
Don't question how that makes any sense based on, weather or just
the world.
How geography works in general. Because that's not important. Because you shouldn't worry about the geography outside Japan. It's not important.
You shouldn't worry about anything outside of Japan. No, seriously, this is an issue of basically the Japanese word for foreigners is not gaijin, because gaijin just means it's technically a derogatory term, but no one uses it like that. The official term is gaikokujin, which just means people from other countries. But the thing is, the term gaikoku, which literally just means koku meaning land, gai meaning other. It's there is this mythical gaikoku that is just every other country that is not Japan.
That's an unfortunate, it's oddity in the language is that one. That's an unfortunate translation.
But no, it is kind of a lot of Japanese language stuff. It's unfortunate. But yes, anime has 4 seasons, so basically they get released in 13-week blocks. You've got spring, you've got summer, you've got autumn, and you've got winter. Or autumn or fall, if you are American and dumb. I apologize. I only speak the truth.
We're in England, speak English. Oh no, wait, you're in Japan, speak English.
I'm in Japan, speaking English. I teach English. You can't fight me. Well, I actually have to teach American English. It's really confusing.
Oh,
It's because a bunch of katakana English, basically the Japanese based on English, is based on American English, whereas the Japanese for soccer is soccer. So if I use the term football, they look at me confused. So I have to use soccer. Though there are some of my students who are my favorites who remember that I prefer the term football and therefore say football. I'm like, yes,
Aww.
yeah, they're adorable. I love them so much. We are currently just about entering the autumn/fall season, as Starbucks has proclaimed due to the fact it has new menu items.
The pumpkin spice is out in force.
Yeah, no, in here it's sweet potato spice. They don't use pumpkin. It's sweet potato as the...
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I don't imagine there's a lot of native pumpkins in Japan.
No, you also get sweet potato donuts, and they are the best thing ever.
I'd give that a try. That sounds all right.
They're so good. Seriously, they are so, so good. Well, moving on from my waistline, quickly, which is...
That's difficult in and of itself.
Yeah, exactly. My anime stuff, the kind of anime or stuff that I tend to watch quite a lot of, not fantasy stuff. I watch everything that's fun. I watch the shonen just main battle anime. Shonen just means from basically a big popular magazine called Shonen Jump. So basically anything that's fun or looks fun. I like dark and horror-y stuff a bit as well, even though it scares the pants out of me. And also sugary sweet stuff that's just like, this is so cute. I will basically watch anything as long as it's not a fantasy isekai.
That's fair enough. And for when you can't watch a fantasy isekai, I'm here, apart from the times I don't watch the fantasy isekai.
Okay, Tom, we established your love-hate relationship with everything isekai.
It's hard. It's a difficult life trying to watch isekai. You've got so much to choose from, and the most of it is garbage.
Yeah, fun fact, isekai means another world. It is a genre where a protagonist gets sent to another world.
Almost as if I've written a whole essay on this at some point.
My main issue with it is it's just generic fantasy setting after generic fantasy setting after generic fantasy setting.
If you're a big fan of world building and stuff like that, isekai is most often going to be just a waste of time on your part. There's not going to be anything particularly interesting about the worlds you're visiting.
Every world is the same!
Every world is a fantasy setting. Despite having literally limitless potential, most people decide to just play it safe and base it on Dragon Quest or something of the ilk. But personally, as a more character-focused person, I can accept a really dull world if you're doing something interesting with the people in that world. But often they don't do it either, so you just it's a difficult relationship.
What is your favorite non-isekai animes?
I'll be honest, I'm also a sucker for both the shonen action and the sweet stuff. I've watched quite a few too many high school comedy animes.
Yep, and I'm here to tell you how accurate that is.
Yeah. I'm there for the cute stuff as well.
Yeah, I work in a Japanese high school, so therefore I'm here to also be like how accurate all that like these are people in uniform, and yes, I have multiple times I have students leave classrooms to go save the world.
What I also really like about anime is the opportunity for me to finally get my hands on some sci-fi, because God, there's just not a lot of sci-fi going on over here. And when it is out, it's either a superhero film, which is fine, or it's a garbage Terminator reboot or something like that, which is not fine.
It's the garbage stuff that turns up on like the CW or Stars.
Don't get enough good sci-fi over here, and it annoys me. So when an anime does come out and it's sci-fi, I just sort of drop everything and get on it.
I love my sci-fi. That anime itself has loads of little subgenres, so there's something for everyone. And
nope, there's something for people who like shonen, and there's something for people who like isekai, and something for people who like high school, and that's the three categories. There's nothing else.
There's more than that.
There's nothing else.
Quickly, the stuff that happened last season. So last season, recap.
Big summer season
that got steamrolled by the spring season.
Oh yeah, what was going on in spring again? Oh yeah.
Kimetsu no Yaiba launched.
Demon Slayer, yes.
This one anime called Demon Slayer started in spring. Usually, sometimes they go 2 seasons worth. Usually they do if they're big. They do the spring and summer, or summer and autumn. And Demon Slayer came out, and it destroyed everything in a good way.
Yeah.
It's so popular. Is it that popular in the West?
It's certainly dominating our anime. Every single page is either Nezuko or one of the other girls.
Yeah.
So it seems to have made an impression. But I think it was a bit of a slow burn. I don't think most people really picked up on it until the big Sakuga fight in episode 19.
Yeah. So it's the big summer, basically halfway through the summer season. People were like, bugger, I should have been watching that all along.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it had some stiff competition going in. It had some more Attack on Titan starting off at the same time, and it was also competing with a tail end of things like Shield Hero and Dororo and a JoJo's.
Shield Hero for me was just, that's more isekai. That's more isekai on top of my isekai.
Yes, it's one of those popular high quality isekai that aren't quite as bad as the other isekai, but it is still an isekai.
Demon Slayer is also huge over here. Like, multiple of my students has recommended me to watch Kimetsu no Yaiba as it's called in Japan. It's like, no, seriously, it's like the big one they're recommending. It's like, you know what anime is. Watch Kimetsu no Yaiba. I'm like, okay. No, wait a second, that's Demon Slayer. I know what that is. That has happened multiple times. In which, Kimetsu no Yaiba. I'll look it up. It's like, wait, this is Demon. I watched this.
Watch it again. Every time
well.
that a student recommends Demon Slayer, watch Demon Slayer again.
Yeah. Another big thing of the summer season was Dr. Stone that's going to continue into this season. Or, as it is said in Japanese, Dr. Stone.
I'm going to leave those accents to you. I'm not going to get
I
involved in
love doing that weird anime announcer voice. It's great. With the katakana English. It's so good. But no, Dr. Stone. It's based off a very popular manga.
Yeah, there are 3 really big shows coming out that came out this summer. It was Dr. Stone leading the way, Fire Force as your big shonen action.
I really enjoy Fire Force, but it's not been really that big. Like, have you seen the Blu-ray sales?
I've not, no.
No, okay. So, another fun fact, basically everything in Japan is like the 1990s. So no one actually streams anything. Everyone just buys the Blu-ray of stuff. And so that's how lots of people judge how popular an anime has been, of whether the fans are buying the Blu-rays. And only about, like, Fire Force, which was the other big one that started in summer, was only sold about 100 Blu-rays, which is ridiculously small.
That is small. Goodness me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then also we had Vinland Saga coming out, which
which is another one based on a really long-loved manga, sorry. People have been calling it like the Japanese Game of Thrones.
But that one sounds like it's going to be a bit like Demon Slayer, and that'll be a slow burn where it'll get real popular towards the end when everything starts coming to a head. But
I think it's going to take ages. Like, Kimetsu no Yaiba is like, Demon Slayer is like, halfway through the season, I should have been watching this. Vinland Saga is like 100 episodes down. People be like, oh my god! Because it's that kind of anime, as someone who's watched about 5 episodes of it. But no, it's based off, it's stupidly long manga that's just going to keep going and just going to keep getting popular. People are saying that the anime is being really well done, so like, there's no reason not for it just to get really popular. It's basically what everyone hoped the Berserk anime would be. It's bloody, it's got Vikings and revenge.
Always good to see Vikings in fiction. Everything's better with added Viking.
Exactly. And Dr. Stone, which we were trying to talk about, that wasn't even Japanese. That was someone having a stroke. Dr. Stone. It's about the world when everyone gets turned to stone for 3 million years or something ridiculous, and then a couple of teenagers get turned not to stone and use the power of science to try and revive society. But in doing so, they awaken an asshole.
Oh no!
Who wants to
not one of
remake
those.
society in his vision, whereas Dr. Stone, who is, I don't know what the character's name is, but he's supposed to be the main character, and he's like, no, we will remake it with the world using science. And so you then have 2 competing factions trying to rebuild the world and revive people from their stoniness. And everywhere is like the Stone Age. Ha! You see what I did there?
Yep, I saw it. I kind of regret doing so, but I saw it.
I'd say you should have stopped me. I watched about 3 episodes and got bored, to be honest. It was fine. It's a fun science show. Like they do everything I'm doing is using science.
It's certainly something a little different from your usual seasonal fodder.
Yeah.
For once, it's not set in a fantasy world.
No, that's the thing. That was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a go at this. But basically every episode, I got a bit bored because I was trying to watch it weekly. But basically every episode could just be summed up with that gif of Jesse from Breaking Bad going, "Science!" And it's just like, yeah. But no, it's cool. It's cool. They were advertising the hell out of it here, but I don't think it's that popular with like the school age crowd.
Fair enough.
Basically, the way I judge whether anime is popular in my school is I put in my PowerPoints, I put slides of pictures of the characters that are relevant, and if I basically judge the whispering when that character appears. So Dr. Stone has not been getting those whispers.
Low on the whisper scale.
Low on the whisper scale, so I'm sure it's doing fine. Like the advertising is huge, but here in the middle of nowhere, Japan.
Yeah, we should probably address that your sample size is not necessarily representative of the whole of Japan.
To be honest, I'm at a high school. I'm at like an averagely sized high school in the middle of nowhere, Japan. I'm pretty sure that's a lot of Japan.
Oh, okay, fair
Anything
enough.
that is not Tokyo or not a major city, I will rep as medium city-sized Japan. I basically live in one of those cities that is the background to every. I'm just an average high schooler who doesn't live in Tokyo.
Oh, goodness me. Soon you'll start seeing someone with bright pink hair sitting next to the window and things will just start unraveling.
Oh, there's a couple of those.
Bright pink hair?
Yeah, no, mostly because schools don't allow dyed hair. So when the kids want to be rebels when they leave school at like 18, they dye their hair.
You're telling me that the kids in your school don't all have primary color based hair?
Oh no, the kids in my school, they all have black hair. They have to. That's the rules.
Anime lied to me.
Yeah, well, maybe some of it did. That's a very regular school rule in Japan. You have to have black or natural colored hair.
Fair enough.
High school isn't mandatory in Japan, though 98% of kids go on to do it. So those who drop out of high school or maybe go to like evening high schools or stuff who work jobs, they tend to have, or like trendy kids or who have just graduated, they tend to have dyed hair. It's something like young people try to do to set them apart from being school kids. So it is popular over here. You just don't see it a huge amount.
So back to this Whisperometer you've been building up.
So the next one on the Whisperometer was I got some good whispers, was Fire Force, also in Japanese Enen Shouboutai. Or Shouboutai. Enen no Shouboutai. Or Enen Shouboutai. It's Fire Force. Fire Force. It's firefighters fighting demons made out of fire, which is...
With fire.
Yeah, with fire. It's literally fighting fire with fire. And it's very unfortunate. It's just had the most unfortunate start of any anime ever.
It was very unfortunately timed. Not their fault. It just...
There was for those who don't know, in the anime industry, there was Kyoto Animation was victim of an arson attack, which meant upward of almost 30 people ended up dying. And yeah, it's really bad. Which meant the anime about people turning into fire demons and having to be killed was surprisingly put on hold for a couple of weeks.
It's also had a very unfortunate timing as Fire Force was produced by a studio called David Production, but at the same time another studio called Trigger has released a movie recently that has a very similar premise about firefighters fighting spontaneously combusting people. That one's a movie though, I believe. It's called Promare.
Oh, okay. I hadn't actually heard of that.
There's just a whole set of weird coincidences going on around Fire Force.
And also its usual slot on Japanese TV for 2 weeks is taken up by a sporting event. So it's actually currently not. It's been delayed at the moment again.
Oh,
so it's probably going to end up being stretched over almost 3 seasons. Though it is, I did find out it's been guaranteed for like 50 episodes or something ridiculous. Like, there's nothing to worry about it. It's a super long burn that's definitely going to be existing for a while.
No pun intended.
which is good because I have hair, slow burn hair, which is good because I actually really, really like it. I think it's fun. I found it really interesting.
That's nice.
We've got to talk about OPs. OPs, the starting music for basically anime your intro. The Fire Force OP is a legit banger. It is. Oh god, it's so good. In the
Is it
break,
fire?
it's
Is
so
it
on
lit?
fire. It's lit. It is the ultimate. I don't even care about being like uncool. Like I'm a teacher. I'm the ultimate of uncle, but it is lit. It's on fire. It's an I love that. Oh god, I love. It's such a good. It's like up there with first 2 seasons My Hero Academia level OP.
Ah, yeah. Well, I do like those. I do have those on my Spotify, so I'd have to keep that in mind.
Okay. Watch out for my mum and her 2-hit multi-attacks or something. Her
Oh,
2-hit combo
are you
attacks.
talking about Okaasan Online? Also known colloquially as the MILF Sakai?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's about an isekai, but with a guy's mom. They go into a video game, but with his mom.
It's a parody of taking the mick out of the usual power fantasy trope of the protagonist going into their RPG isekai world and being overpowered and having a great time. And instead of the protagonist getting all that fun, his mum ends up getting all the power and generally just stealing the limelight from him at every opportunity. Not intentionally. She's a lovely woman. She's just doing what she wants for her son, what's best for her son.
I watched the first episode and found it legitimately extremely boring. But that might be the fact I don't get any of the jokes because I don't watch what it's a parody of, and that's fine.
It's just a fairly light, toothless comedy. It's just there for people who are looking for a good time and not an awful lot of brain power. Summer was a big one.
Did you watch any of it? There was so bloody much. So bloody much.
I've got my summer watch list here next to me. I've even got it ranked.
I have all the titles in Japanese, but I can't. The full title in Japanese of My Mum and Her 2-hit thingamabobs, 2-hit multi-attacks or whatever, is Tsuujou Kugekai ga Zentai Kougeki de Nikai Kougeki no Okaasan wa Suki desu ka? Feel free to totally destroy my Japanese, because God, it's bad.
For anyone familiar with anime and Japanese storytelling in general, you will not be surprised to know that anime is based off a light novel. What I can't quite tell is how deliberate the titling of that is, because every single episode of that anime has a really long light novel title, and I can't tell if it's a deliberate parody or not. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and go, they're just making even more fun of the light novel isekai, but
Yeah, there was a couple I wanted to watch, but they were all on Funimation, which I don't. Basically, there are 4 main things you can subscribe to in the West to watch anime that's in Japanese or is dubbed in English, and that's Crunchyroll, Netflix, Funimation, and Amazon Prime. And I basically have 3 of those except Funimation, which had a bunch of decent stuff like Kanata no Astra, basically a space one.
Yes, Lost in Space! That was one of my favourites from the season, actually.
Ah, nice. It looked really good. It looked really good, but I didn't have a chance to watch it.
That was my big sci-fi binge this season. It was absolutely everything I wanted from it.
And also a kind of fantasy one, which looked interesting, which I only have the Japanese title. To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts, I think, looked interesting. I don't know whether it actually did anything.
I'll admit I did not watch this one. It looks a little bit more like it's up your alley because got a little darker aesthetic.
Yeah, it's that kind of like dark fantasy fighting beasties and stuff.
It's got some military things thrown in there. Yeah.
Also, Copcraft, which looked quite fun. Which is like
I've just started that. It's been okay so far. I'm only like 4 episodes in, and it's a little all over the place. But if we are talking OPs, my God, is Copcraft's OP stylish as hell? Goddamn, is it a fun OP to watch?
Yeah, Copcraft is just a it's a magical girl / fantasy girl teaming up with a policeman in a big city to fight demons and fairies.
It is the closest thing to a Shadowrun anime I'm going to get in a long time, so I'm just going to take it.
Imagine the movie Bright, but if it was good.
And the orc was a cute elf girl instead.
Yeah, which I think that sums up most anime of what if it was a cute girl?
I look forward to about 10 years' time where all the anime are just cute girls. There's nothing else. It's just all cute girls all the time. And I'm 100% on board with that.
I think that's most of the stuff from last season now. Is that?
Yeah, the only other two shout-outs I'm going to give are I watched Danmachi Season 2, which is the short title for Is It Okay to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon? Which is a terrible title. But that was alright. A decent enough sequel to a show I enjoyed. It is a fantasy that borrows some RPG-style stuff, but it was less focused on the actual dungeon stuff this season and more focused on world building the city that they live in.
Oh, that's cool.
If you're looking for more character-based stuff, that one was pretty alright. But if you were looking for guy kills a bunch of wolves in a dungeon, you're not going to get it this season. The only other thing I got was Maidens in their Savage season, which was advertised to me as a comedy and quickly became a very, very serious drama.
Yeah, that was the one that did really badly in terms of selling praise. That one, it's apparently by some amazing writers, and it's totally not my thing. Yeah, it's a coming of age comedy drama about teenage girls and puberty, which we are obviously the total wrong demographic for.
Yes, it shouldn't have been as enjoyable for me as it was, but it was very intense. Actually, it gave me a lot of stress, that show, and in a good way. So
yeah, I can imagine. I avoided that mostly because of like the serious of like this looks like a comedy, but God, could this go and be really serious? Which turns out it did.
It takes a turn. You're forewarned, but it takes a turn.
Yeah, good.
It's not it's not a massive twist in the tone. It just slowly starts, addressing the fact that this is the stuff they're going through is actually serious stuff. And I just came in looking for some catharsis, to be honest, and I just got worse feelings. But hey, we live and learn.
On that note, coming to next season, but in the meantime, we're gonna have a snack break. Snack break, snack break, snack break, snack break, break. We're
recording this around dinner time, your side of the world.
Yeah, it is. It's about 7:20. It's a good thing I have stuff in the fridge. So I thought it'd be a good idea to have basically anime makes food look bloody delicious.
Oh, so good.
There's some food that you can only really get in Japan. And I thought, well, why not? Every week, Tom basically will try and send me a food request. I will try and track it down, something that you can't usually get in the West, something that looks delicious or looks horrible, and then I will have to try it. So I literally came up with this section about 5 minutes before recording, so Tom could not send me anything. So I've been watching a bit too much Food Wars, or in Japanese, Kimetsu no Yaiba, it's not Food Wars.
Shokugeki no Soma, John. Shokugeki no
all
Soma.
All anime is Kimetsu no Yaiba now. All Japanese is Kimetsu no Yaiba. All I hear is Kimetsu no Yaiba, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Kimetsu no... Yes, Shokugeki no Soma. Well, which I think translates to something like the food struggles of Soma, or something.
Yeah, I've noticed that a couple of these anime titles like to include the name of their protagonist that doesn't translate over to the English titles.
The preposition or no just means of, so it's like the something of Soma or the something of whatever. But yeah, and he eats a bunch of this. Soma eats a bunch of the dried shredded squid that I
it's his
keep on
favorite
seeing
food
in my local 7-Eleven. He even uses it at plot points, and I have it right now, and I bet you can hear that crinkling in the microphone. Now, I'm quite scared of opening this, mostly because I'm recording this in a cupboard. So if I stink out my cupboard with dried squid, I cannot escape for the next however long we're recording this for.
Right. So what else is in there with just the squid? What sort of what flavoring has it got?
It's just dried shredded squid.
It's just plain. It's just
I
straight from the
think
package.
it says in Japanese surume ka, or I can't read kanji, shita sakiai ka. For any Japanese people listening, I'm sorry, but it's just the default stuff you buy at 7-Eleven. It was not expensive. It is, yeah, it's a small packet as well. Do you have any comments, Tom, before I open this and stink myself out of my cupboard?
Eat the tentacles, Combi.
Eat the tentacles. Okay, it's opened. That smells of squid. Oh, this must be a wonderful audio experience for the people at home. Yep, no, God, that smells of squid. Oh, that's a strong seaweed smell. Okay, I'm eating it. It's very chewy. Oh my. It's like,
All right, do you want to start with flavor or texture?
it's chewy, as
Good.
you would expect of dried shredded squid. Oh God. But it has that kind of taste of like really strong seafood, like protein of just bleh. It's just, oh God. I'm gonna have the second bit. I can imagine people really liking this because it's like really cheap squid beef jerky. But also, oh God, the fish taste is strong. Oh God. Like, if I did not really like squid and fish, I would not be able to finish this.
Could you see this becoming an acquired taste? Do you think if you try it more often, you'd finally come around to it?
Yeah, maybe. The texture's not, like, I'm enjoying the texture's fun if the taste wasn't so obviously squid. That's the new name for, that's what I read in Japanese before. It's 7-Eleven dry shredded squid, obviously squid. I don't think the rest of that's going to be eaten for maybe a while. Good thing it's dried shredded squid, so it's not going to go off.
Christ.
So on the opposite side, we have a tea flavored donut.
Just something to get the flavour of squid out your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because donuts are really popular in Japan for some reason. I have no idea. And therefore, I thought a tea-flavored one. It's kyocha, which is what they call English-style tea, or what most people in the West think of as tea. It's that flavored. It's not ocha. It's not like matcha or anything like that. So I will open. It's just, yeah. This is all I just bought from the 7-Eleven on the way home. It's smaller than I thought. Ooh, that smells also extremely strongly. Why does Japanese food smell so much?
So is it tea you're picking up from? Is that how strongly it smells?
No, it just smells of condensed donut.
Oh, okay. Out of curiosity, what flavour tea is it?
Tea. It just
brown tea.
Yeah, it tastes of a vague, like, fruity tea. It's like someone's tried to make it out of Earl Grey and then kind of like forgotten. Like, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not something I would buy again. But no, it's just like a vague attempt at a fruity donut.
But is it enough to get the taste of squid out your mouth?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then it served its purpose, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going to put the rest of that to the side for later. The full anime season that has just started. That we're actually a bit late for, really. Everything's already had its first episode. Which means that we can comment on it.
If we were good at our jobs, we'd actually have watched the first episode of most of these and come to conclusions on them. But what I've done is, at best, watch some trailers for the shows I wasn't quite sure on and make my decisions based on that.
You've done more than me. So I've just got the full anime list, which starts with Dr. Stone. So I might end up watching that at some point.
Yeah, there's some continuing on from last season.
Yeah, the main ones continuing on from last season are Dr. Stone, Enen no Shouboutai, so Fire Force, and Vinland Saga are like the big three carrying over, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the big...
Everything else is stuff that's on pretty much all year round, apart from like this Madhouse sports anime and I think a idol show.
Yeah, so are we gonna start? Shall we start with the izakaiest of the izakai? It's the original izakai, Arizakai. It's Sword Art Online. It's Sword Art Online, Alicization, War of the Underworld.
It which must not be named. Please don't name it that long. It's
Sword Art Online, for those who don't know, is basically the longest running and most inexplicably popular anime about a kid who gets thrown into a video game.
Only this isn't that. This is something. It's a spin-off. It's like the 4th spin-off in a row.
The 4th spin-off of maybe one of them was good.
Maybe one of them was good, which was Sword Art Online Alternative, which wasn't about Kirito, the main protagonist of Sword Art Online, but a completely different story, written by completely different people.
It was called Gun Gale, wasn't it?
It was set in Gun Gale Online, which I believe was the setting of like the 2nd or 3rd season of the original Sword Art Online series.
Okay.
And I'm really annoyed now because Sword Art Online Alternative and Sword Art Online Alicization both shrink down to the same in
SAOA.
Yeah, so I can't use that anymore. Ugh. Anyway, don't bother watching SAOA. Watch SAOA instead.
I think that's summed up quite well. Enen no Shouboutai is still going on by David Productions. I really enjoy it. It's fun. The OP is a banger. We have established this. Moving on.
Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of recurring things coming back. Some sequel series.
Yeah, it's Boku no Hero Academia. It's the big one. It's the giant smash. Did you hear that? It's Boku no Hero Academia coming in. It's Studio Bones coming to break your bones because you're not watching Boku no Hero Academia season.
That's a great sell. I'm all on board.
I'm all on board. I'd watch it. We're like Deku, the main protagonist. He's got no bones, and they're now animating the animation. I'm gonna cut that joke out. It was awful.
please don't. That was fantastic. Top quality content here.
Boku no Hero Academia, My Hero Academia. It's the most popular anime in the world at this point. I think I can comfortably say.
Looking forward to it.
It's Hogwarts, but for superheroes.
It's the only anime I will watch every week this season. Everything else I'm binging when it finishes.
I love it so. I love it so much. We went to go see the movie together in Japanese. Yes, we are that dedicated, and God, it's good. The movie is maybe a 7 out of 10, but Series 1, strong 8 out of 10. Series 2 and 3, 10 out of 10 all the way. 9, 10 out of 10. Okay, maybe Season 2, most of it's 9 out of 10. Season 3, 10 out of 10. 10 10s.
They'll be happy to hear that a second movie comes out this season as well.
Oh, cool. I might...
December 20th.
Oh, God. There's no way in a million years they're going to subtitle that in English. There's like one cinema near here that actually shows films in English, but they're never going to show a subtitle of that. Oh, well.
Just have to be able to hear Japanese and understand it instead of reading it.
Yeah, this is one thing. My Japanese ability is going to fluctuate due to the legal ways I can acquire anime in Japan. So you will realize that suddenly, oh my God, his Japanese is so good. I know, right?
Yeah, you're not going to learn Japanese so that you can be good at your job. You're going to learn Japanese so you can watch your dumb superhero show.
Yeah, because I love my dumb superhero show. It's the best.
It's a really good superhero show.
It's just they're
arguably
so
the best superhero show you're going to get around at the moment. So you don't have much competition.
It's one of my favorite shows of all time, to be honest. I love it so much. I'm just gonna flood on about because only the first episode came out, and to be honest, the first episode wasn't great, but it was filler trash.
It was a pretty good recap episode and nothing else.
Yeah, it's basically a recap episode for like you can't be bothered to watch 3 series before this. Have fun.
If you want to remember all these characters we've been neglecting for the last 3 seasons, here's what they do again.
To which all the manga readers are like, I'm ready. I'm just like, I don't know what happens. Shush.
I've just seen a bunch of characters that were gonna come up in this season, and I've no idea what they do, but I'm worried already.
I'm excited. And favorite hero, photo guy.
Although to be fair, the OP and the ED for this season feature a cute girl, so I'm all on board.
Yeah. Though the OP song isn't great, I'm like, it's okay.
They're all right.
Yeah, it's not on
They're
its
not the
usual
best.
level. It's not on
They're
its
not the best
usual.
they've ever done.
Yeah, it's not. It's, to be honest, compared to the past few OPs, that'd be hard.
Compared against other My Hero Academia seasons, all right. Compared against most other anime, though, pretty decent.
Still no Enen, no Shouboutai. God damn. Vinland Saga still exists. We talked about that. It's historic. It's got Vikings. Watch it or don't if you want to give more money to Jeff Bezos, which I do.
He's got what you want. He's got Vikings.
He's got my Viking animes. And I only know the English title for this. It's it's Seven Deadly Sins, but Nanatsu no Taizai Kamigami no Gekirin.
This is peak fantasy battle.
This is peak fantasy battle, and I've watched all of season 1, and I tried to start watching season 2.
Be honest, out of all the sequel seasons we're getting this season, Seven Deadly Sins is the one I'm least looking forward to. Not because of anything the third season has to offer, but because I've just kind of I wasn't completely keen on how season 2 ended. It just sort of seemed to drop in the middle of an arc, and
it seemed to drop halfway through the second episode when I was watching it. It's peak fantasy. There's the English dub on Netflix for the first 2 seasons if you want to actually get into it and you don't really, and like all this other Japanese, what is this Japanese language they speak of? I only watch the English, which is fine. Yeah, the Netflix dub is fine, so you can watch that. They've only got up to season 2. I'm not excited enough for it.
I just want more King. Give me more King, and I'll be happy.
It's just, the thing about Seven Deadly Sins is it's so it has all the problems that people like will point at anime and go, that's a problem. I'm like, yes, I agree with you. Seven Deadly Sins has all those problems.
It is so incredibly anime. It is one of the most anime that ever existed.
The main character is an absolute It's just the kind of anime that's like, I am embarrassed to watch. Of like, no, not all anime is like this. Oh god, the main character is an absolute lech who is does not treat women.
It's not good.
It's treated as bad within the universe, but that doesn't make it any bloody better. Because also he looks like a 12-year-old child.
But he's ripped.
Yeah, and also several thousand years old.
Don't worry about it.
Oh god, I hate this anime.
And yet, I'll watch it still.
Yep, that's kind of the summary.
It's got me. Which is, it's got enough going for it for me to ignore all the bad stuff going on about. It's ultimate fast food. It is just peak fast food.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing I think you watch when you run out of everything else to watch.
True that. That's how I treated season 2. But anyway, speaking of fast food, Shokugeki no Soma, aka Food Wars.
Shokugeki no Soma is actually back. One that does treat all its characters, men, women, and in between, or whatever you identify with, as sexualized as possible, and it's amazing.
It is a equal opportunities lewd show, and it's all the better for it. Also, it helps that, unlike most anime, which will just go on stupid inconveniences and misunderstandings for its lewdness, all the lewdness in Shokugeki no Soma, for the most part, is metaphorical. So it's less problematic.
Yeah, basically they eat food that's so amazing it makes them feel like their clothes are. It's not weird.
It's no more weird than most other anime, to be fair.
I will keep on saying this to, like, whenever I talk to people about Western shows as well. It's also not as weird as, like, my parents got killed, therefore I dress up as a bat and punch people.
Well, when you put it like that, don't you understand, Combi? It's very deep psychological reasons. He's coping with his trauma through violence, and that makes it okay.
And therefore, it's also important that we look and examine the emotions of high school students through them cooking food so good that it makes their clothes fall.
Only metaphorically.
But also not. Also, one character really not metaphorically, because one of the characters is a nudist.
Yes, it's fantastic.
I'm only about 2/3 of the way through Series 1, and Series 4 is starting right now. I am so excited.
You gotta get on the train with me, Combi.
We should probably also get the guest, my dad, on, who has what I will state, who has watched only a bit of anime, but I introduced him to Food Wars. He binged watched 2.5 seasons in like.
I have no idea why you thought that was a good idea, but I love it, and I would love to talk to your dad about Food Wars.
My dad is a mid-50s-year-old man, and he loves Food Wars.
And he should. It's one of the best shows. It has no rights to be as good as it is, but it's fantastic.
I'd only watched like the first episode for a while, and I was like, oh, I don't feel like this could live up to the hype. It does. All the girls are best. It has so many good characters.
So many good characters.
I love you, Megumi. Megumi is best girl, and I will fight
She's
you
so
with
sweet.
otherwise. Oh, is.
That's all right. You can have Megumi. That's all right.
Well, I'm only like 2/3 of the way through Series 1, and apparently there is another much better girl that does appear at some point.
There's nothing that directly competes with Megumi. If you like Megumi, you're gonna keep liking Megumi.
Oh,
There's
Megumi
nothing
is-
that overrules
She
that.
is just such a sweet, sweet cinnamon roll.
We got girls for all tastes and flavors here. And
Yeah,
we got
you
sweet
really
boys
do.
for all tastes and flavors.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
do have sweet
Again,
boys for all tastes and flavors.
Equal opportunities. Everyone's catered to here at the restaurant that is Food Wars.
You also have the joys of random people from all over the world who suddenly speak fluent Japanese.
Oh yeah, we got some Italian brothers, and you can tell they're Italian because one of them is blonde, and all
Yeah.
foreigners are blonde.
All foreigners are blonde.
As John here will attest to.
Yes,
all
I am
foreigners are
that
blonde.
one blonde foreigner. Hello. You can tell it's me. Please don't report me to my school. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's ridiculous. Everything is decided by cooking. It's basically an action fighting thing if all the action was food.
Yeah, legitimately, if it wasn't for My Hero Academia, this would be the show I would absolutely look forward to most, and I'm still not decided on that.
Yeah.
Both of them are. It's a close call.
I'm legit. It's such a fun anime, and I'm looking forward to being able to actually watch season 4 when I finish binge watching the 3 seasons before it. Sliding on to stuff that I have no idea about.
So less interesting things.
Yeah, according to this one, so obviously neither of us have watched the first episode of that, but apparently it's good.
Of which one?
Food Wars.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna binge it when it's done. It might be 24 episodes. Actually.
It's 24. I think I've got 24 written down here. Yeah, it's got 24 episodes. It's 25 episodes, I think.
Yes. I hope so. More Food Wars is always good.
Cautious hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. Or Konoyusha ga ore tue kuse ni shinsho sugiru. Hi.
Because the only thing that's maybe more popular than isekai anime at this point are parodies of isekai anime.
Oh god, it's another parody of isekai anime.
It's another parody of isekai anime where it's basically
Animes.
It's basically when you are in any role-playing game and you just decide that instead of playing the actual game, you're going to grind until you're so strong that nothing can beat you, just because, it's an RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And inevitably you're going to hit a wall where the boss is just too hard and you have to go back and grind later anyway, so you might as well get it over with now. So yeah, apparently it's a 12-episode show based on that premise, and I have absolutely no idea whether it's going to be any good or not.
And I have absolutely no interest in it.
Yeah, the premise doesn't sound like it'll carry more than one episode, which means it's down to the relationship between the protagonist and the other protagonist, which is apparently the goddess that summons him. See if they've got any entertaining banter going on between them. Either way, it's probably not going to be as good as Konosuba, but I haven't got much Konosuba going for me right now, so I might grab it anyway.
Yeah, I'm imagining that it's just what you call it's the main goddess is like a really powerful woman, but she also just wants head pats.
I think maybe I don't know. The trailer didn't tell me much other than obviously she needs a hero to do the work for her. She's not that powerful. So she might be Aqua Part Mark II and just be completely useless. We'll find out.
We'll find out if either of us actually watch it. Now, moving on now to what looks like Edge, the edgening. It's Assassin's Pride.
Oh God.
This looks like so much Edge. I love it.
Yeah, and it's not even. Oh, I would say it's not even good Edge, but personally, I'm not particularly a fan of Edge.
It looks like trash Edge. It looks like trash trying to be edgy for the sake of edgy.
It looks so very, very trashy. I mean, I watched the trailer for this, which was way too fast, and I could hardly keep track of it. I had to watch it at half speed to figure out what was going on. And to be fair, the designs for the enemies in it look pretty good, but other than that, it just looks like it's going to be an incredibly edgy drama based on a premise that couldn't possibly happen, because the premise is that they have to train this girl to be able to use magic or some form of talent, combat talent, and if she can't develop it, then the guy who's training her has to kill her, which obviously isn't going to happen considering they're both the main characters of the story. So that kind of ruins the main edge going on there.
Yeah.
So unless they surprise me and actually do a decent story with that premise, I'm not interested in the slightest. I'll be skipping that one myself.
That looks like one that I will try if I have any time, which I probably won't. And I have way too many of his starting. So I've got way too many. I can't just go through the list of all of my anime list. But what do you have that you think is worth highlighting?
Oh, well, let's see. What have we got that we haven't already gone over?
I heard Psychopaths 3 is kind of coming out, but Psychopaths 2 was kind of rubbish, so
I feel this is more your area of expertise. I haven't watched any Psychopaths and I have no plans to watch it.
I loved Psychopaths 1. It's basically that it used to be on Netflix. Basically, it's Minority Report plus exploding brains plus more detective stuff. It's like, oh, we predict you could do a crime, therefore you're getting exploded. It's really good, like edgy sci-fi.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like a contradiction for me to say I love sci-fi and want more sci-fi anime, and they're the biggest sci-fi anime coming out this season. I'm just not interested at all, but it is that level of edge that I'm just like, eh.
No, apparently season 2 was trash.
I don't think you need to watch season 2 to watch season 3. It looks like it's
totally different characters. Yeah, it looks like a kind of
characters
rebooty in the same universe.
But no, it's by different people, I believe. So.
Oh, okay. So, why is it called the same thing? I found this one looks quite cool. It's called No Guns Life.
Now I've been complaining about Edge, but this looks like my kind of Edge. It looks ridiculous.
I will do a summary. Ex-soldier Inoue Juzo question. Who turned him into a cyborg and erased his memories? As we all do, the kind of question that I have while walking down the street after the war.
You're missing the main thing, though. He's not just a cyborg. He's a cyborg with a gun for a head. Like, I can't express this enough. His entire head is just a massive Glock with a mouth. It's fantastic.
I didn't realize. I thought that was just like shading on the poster.
No, there's 3 characters in the poster. A generic black-haired man, a blonde girl, and a guy with a massive metal head in the background. The guy at the front with the black hair, not the protagonist. The actual protagonist is the guy with the gun for his head.
Yeah, it's just a
gun for a head. Now you see what I mean by I'm on board with this kind of edge. This is so crazy.
I am on board. This is amazing. This is why I love anime.
This is what I come to anime for. And there's more than just that to get on board with this. It's by Madhouse, which are one of the most highly recommended anime studios out there right now. Although they've had a couple of weird things going on every now and then, but they've been good recently.
They did the original series of One Punch Man. They did not season 2. They did Death Note. They did Overlord or Doing Overlord. They did Hunter x Hunter. It's sorry, Hunter x Hunter. It's not Hunter x Hunter. I have to
Yeah,
hand
if you're
in my
looking for anime,
card.
this is one of the biggest studios you'll find. So
Yeah.
they're pretty good on quality.
I think it's only available on Funimation though.
I think you might be right there. A big appeal for me is that there's some people who worked on Black Lagoon working on No Guns Life, which is a good sign for me. I love Black Lagoon. It's one of the darker shows I actually enjoyed, and if this is more like that, but with sort of cyberpunk cyborgs and headguns, I'm all for that. That sounds real good. So I'm hoping that's good. It might be awful, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how that shakes out.
Well, I'm pretty sure at least the action will be fun, and it looks like it's a good studio, so it will be mediocre at least.
Yeah. So I'm going to give that a couple of episodes to dissuade me, and if it doesn't by then, I'll probably watch the whole thing when I have time, because it just sounds... I have no idea where what wild ride this is leading me on, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, there's the one isekai I'm going to draw attention to is I don't know how to pronounce this, Hatage Kimono Michi, which is
Hatage Kimono Michi.
I'm going to see if there's an English title for people who don't speak Japanese.
Kimono Michi Rise Up. That's boring.
Yeah, that one. It's a boring title, and it's just a generic comedy fantasy isekai, as far as I can tell. Apart from the fact that the main character is a pro wrestler and loves animals, and
okay, that looks adorable. He has a hamster on his shoulder. Is that a hamster or a dog?
That's a dog.
That's a dog.
Shibi.
I wish it was a hamster. My day is ruined.
Yeah. Well, so I'm gonna give you this to work with, and that'll be it. The first episode of Rise Up features the protagonist suplexing the princess that summons him because he doesn't want to fight the Beastmen because they're animals and he loves animals. So, if that's the sort of ridiculousness you want from your comedy fantasy isekai, look no further.
Is that also on Funimation? Because
I have no idea.
I'm trying to find half of these, and they're really difficult. Sometimes anime is difficult to find if you're not in Japan, and I'm in Japan, but they don't. Surprisingly, they don't subtitle it here.
But that's one of like 7 isekai shows that are coming out just this season alone.
God, there's so many.
There's so many.
Some of them might be really good, but there's no way. Like, hopefully, we might be able to find out like what the hype is around.
The only other thing I'd point to is there's one about high school prodigies being taken to another world, which is basically, if you like the premise of what are those Danganronpa games where everyone's the best at one particular thing.
That is really not the main thing that you like.
Okay, fair enough.
Danganronpa is made. Danganronpa is all about just high school kids murdering each other, which, as a teacher at a high school, is something that I do endorse.
Okay, I don't think there'll be any murder in this, but if you like the premise of...
For a note, I do not... for a note for my employers, I do not endorse...
But if you like the premise of everyone in the main cast being the best at something, it's an isekai about 7 high schoolers being transported to another world and then just ruling the place because they're all child geniuses for some reason.
Oh, that's fun.
Which might be a bit excessive for some, but if people are just looking for something utterly ridiculous, like someone building a nuclear power plant in a place where elves and cat people walk around, feel free to give that a shot. I was just about to ask if there's anything else that you jumps out to you.
There's a sports anime. There's basketball. Ahiru no Sora. It doesn't have an English title. Might be interesting for those who like sports anime because it seems to be the only one this season. Well, there's usually at least 1 or 2. One that there's a bunch of second seasons to stuff I've never watched. So Grand Blue Fantasy the Animation Season 2, Radiant second season, which they're the kind of stuff I think I need to watch. First of all, there's one that just looks like My Fursona the anime. It's called
Beastars.
Beastars. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that.
it just looks like
Exactly.
Zootopia, the high school anime.
No. This is a murder mystery, I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
Let's see. The tags are drama, psychological, slice of life. I'm not really sure. It's by the same people who made Land of the Lustrous, though.
I've never watched that.
No,
So it
but
might be amazing,
whatever.
or it might
It
be
might
one
be.
of those things that like changes halfway through.
It's probably going to be one of those cult classic type things where it's really good for a very small subset of people, but most
Yeah.
people give it a pass.
Also,
There's a couple of shows like that.
Yeah, Kabuchiko Sherlock looks fun if you like a kind of Sherlock Holmes mystery, which is just a Sherlock Holmes kind of comedy in Kabukicho, which is in Shinjuku in Tokyo, which looks vaguely a little fun. Bat murder. Another one that's kind of like a police action one, which I am a sucker for because I love police action or police mystery stuff. It's called in Japanese. Kaishiko Tokuma Bubu Tokusha Kyoku Han Taishiko Shitsudai Nanaki Tokunana. AKA Special 7 Special Crime Investigation Unit.
Special 7, yes. I actually looked at this and it's sort of pretty good. It's got that sort of, it's similar to Copcraft in that it's got that same fantasy, urban fantasy sort of premise where there are things like elves and dwarves and dragons mixed in with a regular 21st century capitalist society. The year is listed as 20x19, so 2x19.
Oh joy!
Yeah, so
I like stuff like that. But to be honest, I think that's everything unless suddenly something becomes much better.
I should probably give a shout out to Chiha Furu for their third season for people who really like that, because I hear that's a bit of a cult classic. And personally, the only other thing that jumps out to me is this one about a demon school. Which one is it again? It's basically just another demon
I
slash
saw
high school
that.
anime.
Yeah.
But the protagonist reminds me an awful lot of Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia, so I might give that a shot.
Nadimashita Iruma-kun. Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun.
Yes, I doubt I'll watch that for the full 23 episodes, but I might give it 5 episodes and just see where it leads me.
Yeah, that seems
It looks
fun.
cute. It's got a nice bright art style. I'm a sucker for a good art style.
Yeah, that looks kawaii as hell.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think that's everything. So this was going to be like a really big, like, intro episode, as it were, to...
We'll just dump everything now and not ease into it at all.
And then we can kind of, like, assume maybe that you might know what we're talking about. Quick highlight of the week, or all anime that you should watch. Any kind of anime that you should watch.
I'm gonna use this opportunity to preach for Lost in Space, aka Kanata no Astra, because that's a really good, just 12 episode short, fully contained story. No other series or sequels that look like they're gonna come out.
Yeah.
And it's just really something nice and unique. You don't see many space series anywhere else. I just think it's really well written. It was probably my favorite from last season, along with Demon Slayer. Just joint first on those two, and it's less for commitment than the 28 episodes or something that Demon Slayer was. So give that a go. It's really good.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try and highlight also. It's from last year, or it's from really early this year. It only got 12 episodes, but it's a really interesting for those who like a more serious historical anime and don't want to start watching the epic that will be Vinland Saga. It's called Anglemoy's Record of Mongol Invasion. It's basically a historical anime about one of the Mongol invasions of Japan, and some of the action in it is really good. It's really short, and I only watched about 2/3 of it. I need to go back to finish it. But what I did watch was really fun, and it's likely something that lots of people might not have had a watch of. So if you just want a short 12 episode anime to binge. And with that, that's, I think, the end of our first episode. Bom, 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 bom.
I think that went well enough.
Yeah, I think I've got to go decide what to do with the rest of this bloody dried squid.
Is it stinking up the cupboard yet?
It's doing okay, but it is on the opposite side of the cupboard to where I am. It's a good thing podcasts don't have smell-o-vision yet. But with that, I think that's a mata raishu, mata de, mata ne. I will see you next week. My Japanese is awful. Or see you next time.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.